before we start with that, I want to give out a few points to keep in mind and some housekeeping items. So to my commissioners, any questions that come up during testimony, please write them down, and everybody will have 3 minutes to testify. And, as is in the case in many of our other meetings, if people are still talking as the 3 minutes is completed, a lot of times we ask, go ahead and submit your summarize your testimony within a few 30 seconds or whatever. But right now we have a little over 150 people signed up to testify. And if everybody has 3 minutes per person, that is 450 minutes, which is somewhere between 7 and 8 hours of testimony. And that is if everybody is lined up one after another for all those 3 minutes. So we probably have at least 8 hours of testimony before us. And so we are not going to have any clarifying questions from the commission. We will have everybody an equal 3 minutes, then everybody has the same amount of time. And I know there's a lot of passion behind this, which is great. And all of you have shown up, which is fantastic. This is a huge, huge decision to be made for our island and for our county and for our people and for our future. And so there is, I'm sure all sorts of angles and perspectives to be shared, all of which is very important to take into account. And I wanted to remind everybody that we are volunteers. We are not paid for this. We are also taking time away from our families and our lives and everything. So please know that we care. We are here to listen to every single one of you. And I hope everybody else is here to listen to everybody else as well. So please be respectful of each other. We're going to ask, refrain from shouting things out, refrain from, applause at the end or cheering. You can, do this kind of clapping if you need to. But just keep everything, respectful and moving along smoothly because we have a big day ahead of us. Emotions are running high. There's passion behind this. But we're all here we're all on one canoe together. So we all have to find a way to paddle forward together. So with that, everybody will have their 3 minutes. Commissioners, if you have any questions that come to mind as people are speaking, write them down. We will have time afterwards. If we get through testimony today, we will have time to ask questions of our resource people and ask for additional information to be brought to us the next time we convene on this item. So before we get started, are there any questions from the commission? Seeing none. Oh, and I do want to make a reminder to the people who are following this meeting online. Anything that you type in the chat is not going to be seen by us. Anything you type in the chat will not be taken as testimony. You are throwing your voice into the void. So if you have anything you need to say, please put it in your testimony and it will have the force that you want it to have. And with that, we will get started. So I'm going to call 3 names at a time so everybody on deck and in the hole can get ready to come up. And hopefully we can cycle through smoothly. I believe there are people waiting outside and downstairs to testify. So to the people that are here in this room, if you can, at some point, please, after you testify, filter out and then allow the people outside to come in. I believe there's a setup outside to watch this meeting on live stream, still on premises. So you will all be included and be able to stay up to date on what is happening throughout this day. Okay, so thank you for giving me that space. We will start off with Wesley Polly, followed by Eric Cloninger and John Egbert. When the people who are testifying next, you can start getting up and filtering down. Thank you.
Since this is the second time, I don't need mention my name, right?
Oh, you should still.
Okay. My name is Faith in the warrior of the heaven and the earth. Wesley Kikokapangani Pali is my name. I had one stroke, so my speech is kind of offset. The reason why I'm here today is to testify that this short-term agreement is it's not good. Okay, our economic and everything is hurting. Our people is hurting. The reason why is because, like I said in the beginning, we have these CEOs that coming and they're taking care of all the land. You know, I work for Hawaiian Airlines. Well, I used to work for Hawaiian Airlines. They terminated me, but the reason why they terminated me because I'm a whistleblower on safety concern, on land development, magnetic fuel, things that were happening. But the main thing I am here for is to stop the mayor from making any more foolish mistakes. Okay? Number one, it's not their fault that they came over here, purchased on land, and doing all this stuff. They should have stopped it from way before. Okay? So don't blame the short-term investors. Blame the corporation investors. Yeah? They're the very one that created all this mess. And I can tell you, I come with the spirit of Chief Kukihiko, yeah? All my uncle guys, like my uncle Solomon Pali, Uncle Aimoko Pali, I come in their spirit. And they're telling me right now, we is going in the wrong way, the wrong direction. We're trying to cover up.
1 minute.
We're trying to cover up the mistakes that we never do. Yeah? It was government sponsored. Yeah? So government sponsored should be able to fix the problem. Yeah? If they need advice or any resources of how to fix it, they can come see me. Yeah? Even the mayor. The mayor, you know what? I love the mayor all my life.
30 seconds.
Have relationship. Yeah? And I know if he comes see me and get the right results, we all can fix this. We all can fix it together. Yes, you guys not getting paid, but you guys have the wisdom and knowledge to understand. By listening to the people, that's your job, to understand what they feel. You get different opinions, but the opinions you should listen to is your heart. Your heart, that's what you call. I thank you for the time, but I have no time. But the thing is, like I said, listen to your heart. Listen to your heart and have the thing. You guys said that's from Maui. I'm a Maui boy. Yeah, I'm a Maui boy.
Very much.
Believe in yourself, believe in Christ, and Jesus Christ loves you. So you know what? Don't fear. Don't fear about these guys. Fear about the corporations. Yeah? You like the name? I can give you all the names. Starting with Peter Nero, Peter Market, yeah? Peter Hall.
Thank you.
Yeah, all
I'm
the
going to
people.
have to ask you to sit down now.
I love you. And God bless you.
So we have Eric Conninger, followed by John Egbert, and then Leslie Brown.
Aloha, Commission members. My name is Eric Cloninger. I'm a principal of Cloninger & Sims Consulting, a Honolulu-based consulting firm specializing in research and analysis of Hawaii's lodging market. My firm was retained by Travel Tech, a trade association representing travel agencies, travel management companies, and short-term rental platforms, to analyze the fiscal and economic impacts associated with the proposal to eliminate short-term rentals from buildings on the Minatoia list. Our study considered two types of impacts associated with the county's proposal. One, the potential loss of real property tax income to Maui County that would result in taxing the affected condominium units at various residential tax rates rather than continuing to tax them at the short-term rental tax rate. Second, the estimated loss of visitor spending that would result from the decrease in the supply of short-term rentals, and the loss of Maui County's share of the general excise tax and transient accommodations generated by visitors who stay in short-term rentals. According to our analysis, eliminating short-term rentals on the Minatoya list would cost Maui County between $38.2 million and $76.7 million in property tax income every year. In addition, another $45.5 million in GET and TAT revenue every year. So real property taxes. As you know, Maui County taxes short-term rentals at rates between $12.50 and $15 per $1,000 of assessed value. Tax rates for residential properties, in contrast, are much lower. Owner-occupant residential rates range from $1.80 to $3.25 per $1,000, depending on the assessed value of the property. Converting a single unit valued at $1 million from short-term rental to the owner-occupied tax rate would therefore result in a $10,700 decrease in real property tax revenue for the county. If all of the approximately 7,000 units were converted to either long-term rental or owner-occupied, Maui County would lose between $60.6 million and $76.7 million in property tax revenue every year. Lost visitor spending. As you know, visitor spending is the lifeblood of Maui's economy. In 2023, visitors staying in short-term rentals on Maui generated $2.2 billion in visitor spending and $45.5 million in county TAT and GET. The proposed action of getting rid of the 7,000 units on the Minatoya list would therefore put at risk about half of all of that. As Maui County policymakers seek solutions to the county's housing shortage, I urge them to seriously consider the fiscal and economic impacts. Mahalo.
Thank you. Up next, we have John Egbert, followed by Leslie Brown and David Switzenberg. Oh, and just a note for everybody online, we're going through in-person testimony and then we'll move online.
I'm John Egbert, and I own a rental unit at Lawanakai in Kihei. I'm grateful for this opportunity to address the Planning Commission, but I request that the Planning Commission reject the proposed short-term rental ban. And my main concern is for the well-being of Maui residents and businesses. The rental agent and the cleaning service that I use for my unit are totally dependent on the short-term rental market for their livelihoods. If the proposed ban is adopted, both of those businesses will go out of business, and their employees will be left without a source of income. On top of that, many Kihei area businesses will be forced to close their doors, resulting in even more unemployment. Many of the business owners have worked years to build their business, and they've risked everything. They've risked their entire life savings. Many have taken out large loans to start their business, particularly restaurant owners with all that restaurant equipment. Many have signed multi-year leases for their storefront, and those owners are on the hook to repay the business loans and to make their monthly lease payments. If the short-term rental ban goes into effect, many of those business owners will be completely wiped out and their lives ruined. The lack of affordable housing for Maui residents is caused in part by the county's extensive and burdensome permitting and construction requirements, which add many months and many dollars to the cost. Increased costs are ultimately reflected in the rent that is charged to the tenants. I believe that a task force between county officials and contractors should be able to work together to streamline the process and enable fast-track construction of additional housing units. My written testimony addresses several more points. I request you consider that. I request again that the Planning Commission recommend rejection of the proposed short-term rental ban. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have Leslie Brown, followed by David Switzenberg and Alex April.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I appreciate your time, and I do not envy you in the least. So, I am Leslie Brown, and I've run the 60-unit vacation rental program at Lawanakai for 38 years. I could write are single moms who've been with me for over 5 years. My cleaning company is a family of mom, dad, and their daughter. All 8 of us would lose our jobs. With the closing of the units on the Minatoya list. The ripple effect without tourists means the loss of tax dollars, countless jobs, and the closing of a variety of businesses. The owners of vacation rentals pay a much higher property tax rate, which would be the loss of a lot of tax revenue. I respectfully ask that you reject the closing of the vacation rental units on the Minatoya list. Thank you for your time.
Sorry, we're going to take a pause for a second. You can come up and get ready. It's okay. But we're just not going to start yet.
Hey, aloha, everyone. Paul Laker here reporting live at the Maui County Council meeting where the Planning Commission is in session listening to testimony in favor and against the proposed vacation rental ban that would eliminate more than 7,000 units on Maui's Minatoya list. Right now we're in a bit of a pause, so we're just coming to you.
Thank you. Please go
and we're
ahead.
resuming now.
Hi. My name is David Swissenberg. I'm an owner of Clow Resort and full-time resident of Maui for 24 years. I am in opposition of bill to phase out STRs on the Minatoya list, zone A1 and A2. Our one-bedroom, one-bath condo was permitted, approved, and built in 1978, 46 years ago, as a transient apartment accommodations per Maui County 78-108457, condo map 575. Our condo has provided accommodations for family and visitors alike. It has provided Maui County with revenue in funding, affordable housing, police, fire, parks, and other necessary government projects. It also provides a direct source of income for local businesses and their employees. In conclusion, this bill will have a devastating effect on Maui tourism, Maui businesses, and Maui government. Please reject this bill to phase out SDRs on the Minatoya list, zone A1 and A2. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Alex April, followed by Matthew Adamson and Mike Kiesler.
Mahalo for the opportunity to comment on item C1 today. My name is Alex April and I'm a senior policy manager at Airbnb. Over the past few years, we've been working closely with the County of Maui to develop short-term rental policies that allow home sharing to continue to support the state and local tourism industry and provide affordable accommodations for visitors, including transient workers, students, and residents displaced by natural disasters. To support the county in enforcing its short-term rental rules, Airbnb signed a Memorandum of Understanding, an MOU, with Maui in February of 2022. As part of the MOU, we provided the county tools to better understand the Airbnb landscape in Maui and help enforce its short-term rental ordinance. We also voluntarily removed more than 1,300 listings that did not comply with the terms of that MOU signed in 2022. The proposed ordinance does not reflect years of hard work and collaboration that we have had with county staff to increase compliance across Maui. Additionally, after the wildfires last August, Airbnb and Airbnb.org worked closely with the Governor's Office, the Department of Human Services, to provide temporary housing for displaced residents across Maui. I was here on the ground as well. In total, we connected over 2,200 displaced residents to free temporary housing. Since then, we've been working with DHS leadership for long-term housing to encourage hosts to offer Airbnb rentals and their homes to displaced residents over that longer-term basis. I've been working directly with this program, and in partnership with DHS, Airbnb has helped house over 800 displaced residents for a total of almost 80,000 nights over the next year. Mahalo for your consideration, and we welcome the opportunity to work with you on a solution that works for everyone.
Thank you. Next we have Matthew Adamson, followed by Mike Kiesler and Nalei Pokipala.
sons that are enrolled at Kulani Koi High School. In the fall, we have 2 Native Hawaiian daughters. My wife and I are resource caregivers or foster parents, and we've had many children come and stay with us temporarily, and our daughter was adopted as well. My wife and I have 2 Native Hawaiian daughters. My wife is a member of the Community Emergency Response Team, including training at the Kapalua Airport for a mass casualty event just months before the fire in Lahaina. My wife was one of the first through the roadblocks in the immediate time after the fire, including supporting firefighters from around the state and helping to spearhead the Napili Plaza Distribution Center and serving at the Lahaina Cannery Distribution Center, providing field meals, essentials to local residents affected by the fires. She even had the opportunity to meet Mayor Bisson at the Lahaina Cannery Distribution Center. We find ourselves in the middle of the housing burden and rent burden. The way that I put a roof over my head for my children and the way that I provide food for my children and support our community is through servicing these properties that are on Minatoya. So I would like to voice my opposition to the current proposal, because for my family, we find ourselves in that group that needs housing, and we need income, and we need jobs to support those rent burdens. And the way that we do it is by servicing those properties. I contract AC repairmen, electricians, plumbers, screen repair, carpet cleaners, every aspect of the community. It's our families, it's the people that we know and love, and they work at those properties, and it's a much higher volume of repairs at those properties compared with a regular home. And so that's why I'm here and passionate to just
30 seconds.
find a solution. It may be in part, it may be working with permitting to free up new housing, but I oppose the revision to the Minatoya list. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next we have Mike Kiesler, followed by Nave Pokipala and Courtney Lasso.
Aloha Council, thank you for allowing us to air our grievances here. I'm a local resident here, living in Maui for quite a few years. I would also say my ohana, I know we have differences, and I hope we can settle those, and whatever comes out with our ohana here, I love and honor and respect all of us. So first of all, mahalo for the opportunity for doing this testimony. I'm against shutting down the short-term rentals. I live in a subdivision of Mahina, which is where we manage a condo on ourselves. We've lived through the tragedy here at the Lahaina wildfire and helped numerous friends and strangers by opening our home and our condo, feeding, clothing, and comforting those people. I was also on top of one of the roofs in Lahaina the day of the fire, nailing down shingles that I didn't realize that 3 hours later that house wasn't going to be there. By owning our condo, we are small business owners. My wife and I are in our twilight years. We are not rich by any means. And because of COVID and the fire, we have barely made ends meet. This is what we use as a supplement to our retirement. Since we do not have a pension and are living on Social Security, our one-bedroom, 596 square foot condo needs over $5,500 a month just to break even. And that's likely to be going up due to the increases of the AOAO dues, insurance, maintenance fees. Also due to the age of the condo, we are facing a plumbing assessment of $75,000 next year, which means we're going to have to take out a loan and raise the rents.
1 minute.
This is out of reach for the majority of the people here. Our condo at Papakea was never built as a long-term rental. Even at the beginning, our condo, and over 90% of the condos goes through, we're going to be losing a lot of our employees that work there, the management companies that work for them. Many local businesses also rely on the foot traffic that these condos bring in. I hate to see them
30 seconds.
start to lose their businesses also. And again, I would like to appreciate the council. Please do the decision that you come up with. And I honor our Ohana here on this island. Mahalo.
Thank you for your testimony. Now we have Nele Pokipala, followed by Courtney Lazo and Katie Austin.
Aloha. My name is Nale. I was born and raised in Hawaii. My mother moved us to Maui in 1989, where she and other family members have spent the majority of their adult life working or living out of Lahaina. And I bring this up because there's a lot of faces that I don't know here. This is not to state that staking our claim. I am Hawaiian, but this is all how we normally greet each other. So there is a connection, and that's why people introduce themselves, because I'm hearing plenty of stuff in my ear when I was coming here. How come they got to introduce themselves? But that's the reason why. It's just to offer who you are, and you just introduce yourself. I'm here today in support of phasing out the short-term rentals. Too many of our residents have had to move. I remember Honoko'a and other areas being mostly local residents, and I don't even recognize half of that town anymore. Our short-term rental owner was recently quoted in Maui now that she owned 27 units. There isn't anything wrong with owning those units. It becomes a problem when those customers that come to those units have nothing to do with enriching the place that we call home. The model of putting tourists before our people is degrading, which has been shown with more clarity since the August 8th fires. Our county, our residents, and our people that make our neighborhoods thrive deserve better. Other cities across the world, and I'm just reiterating what was shared by the mayor, like New York, those in California, and even in Barcelona have and started to ban short-term rentals because they were losing their residents. Their economies are still thriving. Short-term rental customers do not contribute to everyday fabric of the community, neither do out-of-state investors. Echoing Courtney Lazo from Lahaina, these are not people that are at our graduations, that are at our luau's, our funerals, or anything that is done to prep for these things that make a part of our fabric of our neighborhood. I want to live in a community that I know the people that I'm living next to. I want to thank Lahaina Strong for keeping the community informed and encouraging us to use our voices again. I applaud the mayor and our county planning commission for being open to a new solution that could be a stepping stone to keeping our residents here at home. And we thank you for prioritizing our people, the residents that live here. Mahalo.
Thank you for your testimony. Now we have Courtney Lazo, followed by Katie Austin and Shannon Eady.
Aloha, my name is Courtney Lazo. I am born and raised Lahaina. My ohana has been in Lahaina for over 10 generations. My family lost our home in the fire, as well as most of my family. I am also a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Hawaii, and I've done deals with some of the members that are sitting in this room. I stand here in support of a phase out of the short-term vacation rentals. I personally have sold and represented buyers and sellers of units on the Minnesota list and after the fire. You look at your community, what's happened and what's happening with housing, and it's hard. How do you go back? How do you look at a community that's suffering? And people that have nowhere to go, people priced out of Maui, priced out of Lahaina, pushed out of Lahaina. My family and I have been pushed out of Lahaina. We now live up country until we can return, and think it's okay. People here are worried about their investment or their commission. I know what kind of commission you make. I know what kind of investment, like what kind of money it brings in. I understand that. But there are people who don't even have a first home, let alone a second, third, fourth, and fifth home. And for a lot of the people who, I understand that it may take away income, especially for realtors, right? Because you all know we make pretty good commission selling these units. immerse yourself in the community, get to know everybody. And we hope to see you guys at graduations, the luau's like Nale brought up. That is where you immerse yourself in the community, get to know the people that are the hosts of this place. And then you can understand and put yourself in our shoes and know what it feels like. After watching Matt's presentation, I knew that the housing crisis here in Maui was bad. I just didn't know it was that bad. So anyone who can stand here and say, protect my investment, protect my commission over the people of this place, poho. Mahalo.
Thank you. Now we have Katie Austin, followed by Shannon Ii and Jackie Keith.
Aloha Planning Commission, mahalo for taking your time to hear us. My name is Katie Austin. I'm not going to sit here and talk statistics. I do think Matt's presentation was amazing, as horrifically shocking. I mean, it's not shocking, but it is horrific. I thank him for that presentation and the numbers. I also want to mention as well for the Planning Commission's job to be reviewing land use, and I really urge the commissioners to look at this objectively and please choose to support. I do want to read the first paragraph of a document I found from the Kihei Civic Development Plan for you all from the 70s. The first paragraph states, since World War II, Hawaii has seen its tourist industry grow from a trickle of activity immediately after the war into a flood that many today believe threatens the survival of the state as a desirable place to visit and a reasonable place to live. And that was back in the 70s. And here we are right now in this unimaginable housing crisis. I've always been a proponent of the fact that just because something's been done for years doesn't mean we have to continue to do it. Like, we can do this, you guys. It's happening all over the world. Cities and states and areas that are tourist destinations are starting to phase out these STRs, and it is seeing such a positive impact for their local community. And we have the chance in Hawaii to start this with Maui County and with these places. Like, it's totally doable. We just have to put our community first. And we need to rebalance our way of life that does put our community first. It's not going to solve our housing crisis overnight, but this is one of the first steps we can take towards a better future where people don't have to leave their home. And I'm sick of every single day finding out about somebody else that's moving and another support system that's leaving. We can tackle this tax loss through raising taxes on second homes and non-owner-occupied properties. The economic impact will be studied, and it'll be recommendations to effectively complete this phase-out successfully will be given to the county, right? So let's look at this for land use. And I really urge you to take action and please choose our residents first. And please pass as. Mahalo, everyone.
Thank you for your testimony. Next is Shannon Ii, followed by Jackie Keith and Kyla Wilkinson.
Aloha mai kākou. Mahalo for taking the time. My name is Shannon Ii, and I am in support to phase out short-term rentals. SDRs are just one of many issues that continue to push generation ohana out of their own homelands. I have been fortunate to actually own a home in the town that I grew up in that burnt in the August 8th fire. When I was a kid growing up in Lahaina, life was obviously very different than it is today. I had a few friends that lived in Honokuai on Lower Honopi'ilani Road in the workforce housing. We had access to the beaches, and the kids in the complex played with one another. Families barbecued together on the weekends and shared their food with one another. Life was so much simpler back then. We, the people of Maui, the kupa of Lahaina, will no longer allow the exploitation and extraction of our community. We are so over the perpetuation of harm to our people and our aina. FYI, we are tired of all the fear being spread about this, that, and the other. The excuses of how it's going to hurt the economy, take away jobs. All I hear is a tantrum to what foreigners have been thinking that they are entitled to for centuries. Do any of the SDR owners ever ask yourself, am I part of the community I own in? Am I contributing to the community in any way? Or do you just worry about investing in yourself? How about we bring up the burdens that we've had to carry because of the continued genocide of our people and overuse of our island resources? Many SDR owners are worried about the commodity that they benefit from as a self-interest investor. This is colonizer mentality, and we will no longer stand for it. Time to take back our neighborhoods. Your paradise is our home. our community, and we will no longer put up with it. This isn't the end-all solution, but it is a small start to a new wave of change that will continue to rise. The people of Lahaina, of Maui, Nui, Akama, believe in their power, and it is time to stop the heva from happening. Get it straight. We do not need to rely on tourists. This has been forced down our throats for centuries, and it is time to shift. We will no longer let Lahaina be your ultimate tourist destination. No taking for our community. Enough give the settlers what they want all the time. It's time for shifts to happen. Foreigners have always talked about that they will not. Foreign settlers are used to getting what they want because money has always talked, but we no longer will let this happen. This generation and beyond will continue to speak up, speak out, stand, and not be moved. Our people will no longer be silenced. It is time to malama what we have and stop letting outsiders continue to remove and welcome what no longer serves us. We are Lahaina that believes and know our mana in unity, and that is power that cannot be blown away by the kauaula winds or burnt in any fire. We will continue to stand in place and not be pushed out or away. It is time to cease your operation.
Thank you for your testimony. We are going to break for lunch at noon. I'm going to read the next 20 people on the list. So we have Jackie Keefe next, followed by Kyla Wilkinson, Lori Robertson, Lori Gaffney, Sarah Frielick, Paela Kiakona, Stephanie Smith, Jerry Sweeney, Sean O'Donnell, Clint Hansen, Donna Butterfield, Leslie Mackenzie Smith, Nancy Beebe, Francine Johansson, Susanna McIntosh, Rule Metcalf, Jerome Bosch, Curry McKim, Karen Smart, and Lisa Persinger. So Jackie, please go ahead.
Good morning, Planning Commission, and mahalo for having us today. My name is Jackie Keefe, and I'm here in support of the proposed bill. I moved to Lahaina the year after the Minatoya list was codified into law, and I have watched a significant decrease in housing security for the entirety of my time here. Housing costs have risen exponentially, and we have now more Native Hawaiians living on the continent than in the islands of Hawaii. You're hearing a lot from people in the short-term rental industry about how eliminating them will cause an economic disaster. That's simply untrue. There's no economy without workers. Regulating an industry that is doing harm to our community in conjunction with property tax reform, which is consistently being left out of the narrative, will balance our housing market and allow for people to afford to take county jobs that are needed for our local government to function on its most basic level. These TVRs do not help our economy or our community. People who stay in them shop at Costco. They don't dine in our restaurants. I speak with the people who dine in the restaurants. They're staying at the hotels. They do activities on their own rather than participating in tours from our local companies. They all rent their own cars because there's no shuttle available on their property. They do not have contact with a concierge to warn them about how dangerous our ocean or how they shouldn't hike alone. When they need to be rescued, our tax dollars pay for that rescue. We have exceeded our desired visitor-to-resident ratio now for years. Do not listen to the fear-mongering from these people who have commodified our housing. Please listen to the people of Maui who have watched our ohana move away for years now, long before the fire. Lahaina has lost so much, and one of those things is the only affordable housing that we had in West Maui. TVRs are keeping our costs of housing so high that working people can't afford to live here. Housing is a basic human right. Investments are not. But I want to talk about my friend who has been living at Maui Seaside since the August wildfires. She has been offered housing 7 times to have it taken away every single time. You know why? Because she has a large dog, and the owner gets the last call whether that dog can live there.
1 minute.
We have a good authority that because she's still in the hotels, this shows that she is a good pet owner, and therefore she would be a good tenant. But no, they get last call, she has a big dog, no can. It's been almost 10 months, and this is just one case. We have never had enough pet-friendly housing on this island, and since the disaster, even more so. She has been asked to give up her dog at least 10 times since this disaster in order to find her housing. Would you give up your animals just to find housing? Most people wouldn't, and that's why we have the situation that we have. And we have this situation because the people who own those units to let people move into them. They are choosing profit over people, and we're done with it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. Next is Kyla Wilkinson, followed by Laurie Robertson and Laurie Gaffney.
Aloha everyone, my name is Kyla Wilkinson and I'm a summer law fellow at Native Hawaiian Legal Corporation, testifying in strong support of phasing out the Minatoya list. I was born and raised in Lahaina and grew up in a 3-generation household, which I'm eternally grateful for. However, when considering the reason for this, it was out of necessity rather than choice. Like many other families across Hawaii, the cost of living significantly outweighs household income, and people are forced into so-called doubled-up households. The phase-out of short-term rentals would significantly increase housing inventory for residents. Some may attempt to argue that the solution to West Maui's housing crisis is to develop more housing units. However, as we have seen with the Pulelehua development, there is simply not enough water to meet the needs of new development, currently due in part to the overexploitation of Hawaii by private entities. HRS Section 514E as state law was enacted in 1980 to limit the location of transient vacation rentals in order to protect the lifestyles of Hawaii's permanent residents. The legislative history of 514E provides that transient vacation rentals should not be permitted where the lifestyles of the permanent residents will be disrupted in an unreasonable manner. It is hard to ignore the unreasonable manner in which lifestyles of permanent residents have been disrupted by transient vacation rentals, especially given the recent events. 94% of owners on the Minatoya list did not open up their units to wildfire survivors at a time when finding dignified housing for survivors was not only urgent, but often a choice between staying on Maui or moving away. People who have moved away are often separated from their homelands, families, sense of identity, and place. The lifestyles they once had no longer exist as they are forced to start over in a foreign and unfamiliar place. Certainly, these residents' lifestyles have been unreasonably disrupted.
1 minute.
Those who remain see more unfamiliar faces in their everyday lives, faces that were once their loved ones, friends, and neighbors. Their lifestyles are also unreasonably disrupted. Phasing out short-term rentals is also consistent with the county's strategic plan for tourism. The plan sets forth 3 objectives to attain its goal of creating a healthy visitor industry. Increase the economic contribution of the visitors industry to the island's environmental well-being for the island's residents. Comprehensively manage future visitor unit expansion and maximize residents' benefits from the visitor industry. Phasing out Minatoya rentals are in line with all of these objectives, and it will help meet the county's goal. Mahalo.
Next is Laurie Robertson, followed by Laurie Gaffney and Sarah Freeling.
Aloha, esteemed members of the Maui Planning Commission. Aloha, everyone. My name is Laurie Robertson, and I stand before you today in very strong support of the proposed bill phasing out the TVRs and the Minatoya list. My partner and I are Lahaina fire survivors who tragically lost our home in Waikulu on that devastating day. The house held deep sentimental value for us as it was built by my partner's father with his bare hands back in 1967. It was a place of memories, love, and family history that we will never be able to replace. We got shuffled around to 5 different places all over the island in the first months, and we were so excited when we were finally placed back at the Hyatt because we were back home. We looked and looked and looked for a place to rent in the west side to no avail, and we had to relocate to Kihei. My partner and I have to commute for over 3 hours every workday. That's when traffic's normal. Being so far away from our community saddens me deeply. We want to be back home with every ounce of our being. We are at a crossroads today, and your decisions will have a critical role in the shaping of our island and its residents for generations to come. It will impact whether thousands more are forced to move away because of the housing crisis and desperation for the basic needs of housing and security. Phasing out the Minatoya list will help alleviate reducing competition with owners who put profits before people. This will in turn benefit our local economy as business owners will be able to hire workers who can finally afford to live closer to their jobs and be more engaged in their communities. The opposition would have you believe otherwise, but there is only one clear choice which will benefit our local community in the long run to phase out the miniatureless TBRs. These units were built in apartment zone land intended for use by workforce and locals who live and work and raise
1
families
minute.
here. They were meant to surround and protect the heart and soul of Maui, which is our local community. I humbly urge the Maui Planning Commission to consider the long-term impacts of your decisions and to prioritize the needs of the community above all else. Let us work together to create a future that honors the past while building a sustainable and thriving Maui for generations to come. Thank you all for your time and dedication to the betterment of our beloved island. Your work is invaluable, and I trust that you'll make decisions that reflect the values and most urgent and pressing needs of our community.
Next is Lori Gaffney, followed by Sarah Freeling. Please tell me how you pronounce your name. And Paila Hiakona.
Aloha, members of the Planning Commission. Thank you for accepting my testimony today. I stand in opposition to this proposed legislation. I would like to start by expressing my sympathy to those who lost their homes, businesses, and family members. My heart breaks for you. Following the fire, I provided a home to a fire victim who spent the night in the water watching his lahaina burned. I, like many other STR owners, felt the need to help in any way possible. My opposition to this bill does not mean that I'm in opposition to finding affordable housing for fire victims and citizens of Maui. I believe an integrous solution must be found, but one that does not devastate the economy through lost tax revenue and through lost jobs. It is undeniable that there is a lack of affordable housing on Maui. However, phasing out or eliminating STRs is not the solution. In jurisdictions mentioned where STRs have been eliminated, there's no evidence to suggest that this freed up accommodations for affordable housing. The rent did not come down. Rather, those affected units remained empty or remained available only to the owners and their families. This phase out would simply result in enormous decrease in tax revenue without solving the problem. Recent data indicates that shutting down the 7,100 STRs would create a $350 million shortfall to the state and subsequently to Maui's budget. That $350 million does not include the additional GET that is created by all of the businesses that support the vacation rental industry, and does not include the decrease in spending by those who lose their jobs. With an ever-increasing budget, this lost revenue would devastate an already fragile economy. SDRs provide accommodation for families who want to come to Maui but do not want to stay in a massive hotel. They prefer to prepare their own foods. They prefer a quieter vacation environment. They're looking for a temporary home away from home, and STRs provide an alternate affordable experience. Many STRs are locally owned by law-abiding residents who rely on this income for their livelihood. Removing this income source from them would be perhaps unreasonable and even more so unconstitutional. I'm advocating for those whose work is directly and indirectly tied to STRs. In speaking with many, they are fearful that they will not recover financially. Thousands of small, locally owned, family-owned, women-owned, and minority-owned businesses will be
There are quiet ways in which we have done this that I now wish to make known. We learned of a cleaner who was trying to find employment to gain enough independence to leave an abusive marriage. She bravely obtained a restraining order, and her husband responded by beating her up. Their young children were also victims. I explained the situation to our cleaner, a beautiful Hawaiian woman named Angela, and her response was incredibly beautiful. She's a natural matriarch of the community, and she said to me, Sarah, the three of us, you, me, and her, are going to find a way to work together to get her on her feet. You see all these condos? I have plenty of business, and I will share it. What we're going to do is make her part of our team, and you are going to work with me to help build this business. You're going to write her a reference, and working together, we'll invite other owners to use our cleaning services. I couldn't believe how she was willing to give up some of her work in the short
1
term
minute.
to help this woman, but she did. And she did more than that. She watched over the cleaner and showed her the ropes. I paid her not only to clean my condo, this is Angela, my original cleaner, but I also paid her on the days that this woman in need cleaned my condo. I paid my other cleaner to watch over her on her day, on this woman's
30 seconds.
moment, time to clean. I called Women for Helping Women, spoke to a lovely gentleman who helped me with important advice and helped me to advocate for our cleaner. We've done many other great things for many people here, especially for children, because I'm a teacher. I'd like us to find a way to rebuild. Let us find a way to make short-term rental owners a part of the solution to the tragedy at Lahaina. Let's not make more victims like Angela, the lovely and very wise Hawaiian woman who grew her business to help a victim of abuse. Let's grow Maui businesses and rebuild Lahaina in a movement of solidarity that saves short-term rentals and fire victims alike. Mahalo.
Up next is Paila Kiakona, followed by Stephanie Smith and Jeremy Sweeney.
Aloha, and mahalo for the opportunity to speak. Also, Kim, amazing job at being the moderator today, so mahalo for your efforts. So today, this is not a matter of statistics or economics or dollar value. This is a matter of ethics, identity, and people. There's a very, very clear division in this room, and it's quite easy to distinguish the difference. But like Brada said in the very beginning, yeah, maybe this is a nation of all nations, but this is a nation to bring other people here to make them more like us, not for them to make us more like them. But looking at this division in this room, there's a clear difference also. We are here fighting for our home, fighting to simply exist, fighting to make sure that our people remain here. They are fighting for their investment, they are fighting for their pockets, they are fighting for their own selfish gain. That's the difference. Nearly 60% of our people have already moved off island due to the rising costs and the exacerbation of the short-term rental industry on the housing market. There's a very clear correlation between the two. Once STR started coming here and getting established and taking away all of these homes from the long-term rentals, that's when we started to see prices go up, and that's when we started to see our people leave. But the reality is, the visitors that everybody puts so much emphasis on, and the money value and everything that they have to bring to the table, why do they keep coming back here? Yeah? Because of the people. All of the people in this room who are in opposition of this benefit off of us. There's beautiful places across the world, but people keep coming back here because of how they feel when they come here. The saying goes, people will forget what you say, people will forget what you do, but they will never forget how you make them feel. And that's why people keep coming back here, is because of our people. So, the reality is, somebody said
30
beating heart
seconds.
is our people also. So, I want to close with this. Each person on that seat up there, your job, I'm not going to tell you your job, but it needs to come from a position of either a neutral point of view or a stance that benefits our home as a whole. But there's a very clear conflict of interest
Time.
on that chair up there. Dale, we understand that you own a Minatoya condo yourself. So I think someone like that should abstain from the vote at the end. I'm just saying that.
Up next is Stephanie Smith, followed by Jeremy Sweeney and Sean O'Donnell.
Aloha, my name is Stephanie Smythe, and I'm here to strongly support the phase out of the short-term rentals. I am the granddaughter of Rosilla and Emiliano Ramos. I grew up and was born in 3481 Lower Honoapi'ilani Road. My grandmother bought a property that was once a rubbish dump, but she bought it, she repaired the cane houses that were there, and she went to house her family. As time went on, she built a apartment to house other people. My grandmother, she didn't have a relationship with money. She had a relationship with people. And that's why she remained in kept her building as an apartment zone. Okay, so I was born before Papakea was built. I was born before Maui Sands was built. I was born before Embassy Suites was built and the Mahana. We were a neighborhood. I can name all the people, Pa'oas, Yamadas, Sedangs, Nale'ehas, the Ichikis, the Fujiokas. I know them by name, they know me. Because that's what Home Kauai was always meant to be. A neighborhood where we knew each other. Not where I'm walking down the sidewalk and I don't recognize people. That's not what it's about. So, do you have a relationship with money? Or do you have a relationship with people? Because the money will come and go. Okay, you can always make more money.
1 minute.
Okay, or what I'm trying to say. We're speaking to the Maui Council, but I want to speak to the greater audience, the important audience that has a vote and will cast their vote, the Maui County Council. Let me remind you, it's election year. Your decisions, the way you vote for this,
30
will
seconds.
determine what box I check. Okay? Because short-term rental owners, you ain't gotta vote. We have a vote. Okay? We have the majority of the vote. Okay? So just keep that in mind, Maui County Council. Next time you come to the Union Hall, shake our hands. Remember who puts you in office.
Time.
Thank you.
Up next is Jerry Sweeney, followed by Sean O'Donnell and Clint Hansen.
Thank you, Maui Planning Commission. I just want to say I appreciate you guys listening to us. Before I read my prepared statements, I want to just say that it's not we and they, it's us. And this is a Maui issue. It's not, it's all of our issues, and it's important to every one of us. And one of the things I thought of was, we keep saying we don't have infrastructure to build places for our people, and yet we keep opening new hotels. Why? Why are we doing that? Why are we approving that? Shut down one of those hotels, and how many houses could you build without water? Anyway, my name is Jerry Sweeney, and my wife and I moved here in 2018.
first thing that I saw when I moved, well, we moved into an apartment, and there was a sticker on the door that said "Practice Aloha." And that's something that I've had to try to learn and really be a part of what aloha means. And it aligns with the philosophy that I live by, and that's loving God and loving your neighbor. And I think that's really important. Our island faces a critical need for affordable housing. And like I said earlier, it's not a we and they, it's a collective issue. One of the principles that we should be going by is to do no harm to our neighbors. The Hippocratic Oath says, first do no harm. And that should be our guide for how we make decisions moving forward. And I urge you to reject this mayor's bill because quick fixes rarely work. And this one will not solve our affordable housing problem, but it's going to harm our neighbors. It's going to harm local workers. I paid over $200,000 for remodels and furniture and all that stuff to local contractors.
1 minute.
Thank you. We pay our cleaner probably $75 an hour. No hotel's going to pay that kind of a wage. This is eliminating the middle class, and I think that's a difficult thing. It harms our community. This bill creates division, as you could see here today. That's harming our community as a whole. And I think that's something you should not overlook. And it harms Maui's economy. We've talked a lot about that. I just want to present that with a spirit of love for everybody here and on our island. We do need to come up with some solutions, and I would hope that it could be win-win and loving of all people, not just a few. Thank you.
Next is Sean O'Donnell, followed by Clint Hansen and Donna Butterfield.
Hi, I'm Sean O'Donnell. I am here in opposition of the bill to be taking out short-term rentals from the Minatoya list. I am one of the faces of the people that will be most directly affected by this. My entire family will be bankrupt, will lose everything. I do only rent here in Maui. I don't own. We are, hopefully we can be considered middle class, I guess lower class. But we do manage properties as well as employee cleaners and the handymen and the inspectors. Everybody's family will lose everything. We all depend on it completely. We all believe in coming together as a community and helping each other out. That's all I believe in and all I do. I always try to put everybody ahead of myself, but that does include that I do have two twin boys that are 8 months old, as well as my wife, and I also put them up ahead of myself as well. All of our lives here do matter. All of our lives here are part of a larger community. We all like to know our neighbors. We all walk around talking to each other, saying hi. I'm from Kihei. I wasn't lucky enough to be living in Lahaina. I wish I could have been living in Lahaina, but it is not something that everybody was able to be part of that community. I am opposed because this is going to give so many of us such immediate, horrible accounts to our lives.
Not right now. I'm done for a little bit.
Excuse me, if you're online, please mute your mic. We can hear your conversation.
All of the benefits are only hopeful. None of them are going to actually come to fruition, especially anytime soon. Correlation is not the same as causation. 2001, 2008, we had worldwide depressions for housing. That's why there was such affordable housing here. Worldwide, housing has been jumping up, not because of short-term rentals. My wife is from Poland. Poland has gone up 4 times for the housing in the last 10 years, quadrupling the cost. This is not just a local issue of inflation. This is a worldwide inflation. And keeping these local businesses that increase with the inflation, like short-term rentals, is one of the only ways to make sure that our families will continue to be able to keep up with the increasing costs. Oceanfront properties are not going to become affordable to stay high priced. They're going to be sold to outside investors who are going to keep them as third homes. They're not going to be improving the local economy, not bringing the tax dollars, not bringing our work, not bringing together the community together. Thank you for listening. I do oppose.
Thank you for your testimony. Next is Clint Hansen, followed by Donald Butterfield and Leslie McKenzie Smith.
Aloha, Clint Hansen. I want to thank the Planning Committee for taking the time to volunteer and listen to all of our testimonies today. I'm here to strongly oppose removal of the Minatoya protections for vacation rental properties. This change would have severe personal and community impacts. My family owns Minatoya property purchased in the 1980s. Renting it out has allowed us to afford the high price of taxes and maintain our property, a place filled with cherished memories. If vacation renting is halted, we would have to sell our home, severing our multi-generational roots and ending the significant community contribution, such as our annual toy drive party for Friends of the Children's Justice Center, which helps Maui's abused and neglected kids. We have always believed that in giving back, which is why we worked with John Anderson to incorporate and personally fund the Holio Maui, a community land trust aimed at providing affordable housing in perpetuity. However, stripping property rights and disrupting the economic lifeblood of the island is not the solution. Removing these 7,000 plus vacation rentals would devastate our economy, potentially causing job losses of, I heard crazy figures from 7,800 to 25,000. I don't know, maybe a study would be a good idea. And reducing island inputs by billion or potentially billions of dollars and hundreds of millions in taxes. Last year, Minatoya Vacation Rentals contributed $19 million to the Affordable Housing Fund, more than any other property class. $19 million annually could pay for a $230 million government-issued bond for affordable housing infrastructure. Destroying this revenue stream will only worsen the housing crisis by multiple facets. The county cannot mandate, once these are converted out of STR, the county cannot mandate these units be converted into long-term housing. So this policy won't achieve its goals, but it will guarantee economic losses. My research, supported by academics like Paul Baker, shows these consequences. My radio show with Emeritus Professor David Callies of UH highlighted the potential costly lawsuits against the county due to the violation of constitutional protections. And he's a very well-published author, studied academic. At the end of the day, regulation by its very nature restricts building. And I appreciate, while the work Matt Jureski has provided during the crisis has been invaluable to the recovery, but working for CNHA and programming does not make him an housing expert. Many issues with many of the conclusions he drawn, like the Maui Island Plan, was created decades after this 1989 change. We've also seen no consequential changes as a result of these changes in vacation rentals in other regions like New York. Thank you so much for your time. Aloha.
Thank you for your testimony. Next is Donna Butterfield, followed by Leslie McKenzie Smith and Nancy Beebe.
Aloha, and thank you for hearing my testimony. My name is Donna Butterfield, and my boyfriend and I lost our house in Lahaina in the fires. If I thought this bill would actually help fill the housing need on Maui, I would support it. However, the facts tell us otherwise, and that's why I'm testifying in opposition. Lahaina Strong had posted this graph of the Kako o Maui housing program, showing what the current renters can afford pre and post fire. The majority of the rental need is $1,500 a month. The condos on the Minatoya list will never rent for $1,500 a month because the HOAs are around $1,000 a month or more, and because of the fires, the insurance rates are rising in all complexes, even in those that do not allow STRs. They are also all starting to need plumbing and structural repairs and are issuing assessments to every owner to cover these repairs. These condos are not affordable housing. However, they do contribute tax dollars to the Affordable Housing Fund. Phasing out Minatoya Properties' ability to do short-term rentals will hurt Maui both financially and emotionally. My short-term rental houses friends and family who want to visit but can't afford hotels. They still spend money at restaurants and other Maui businesses and on tours. After the fires, I was able to temporarily house evacuees and fire survivors, and I even offered to rent to them long-term. However, they turned it down, so I put it in the FEMA program. I've also housed Maui residents who needed a place to stay when their house flooded or when it was being tented. These properties help our community. I think there are some alternatives we need to consider. Could we build a rent-controlled apartment complex where rents are based on income as long as a person is working full-time on Maui? Could we also put solar on these complexes so the electric bills could be affordable? This housing could be funded with the taxes collected from the STRs and also from other sources. My friend who owns in Wailea Ikahi suggested that maybe they could be allowed to buy hotel zoning. The owners could vote. If the majority are in favor, each unit owner could pay maybe $20,000 to $100,000 depending on size and value to change the zoning of their complex to hotel. For example, Wailea Ikahi has 294 units, so even if each owner paid $25,000, this would contribute $7,350,000 to such a fund.
Thank you for your
Affordable
testimony.
housing is an issue that is very important to address, but phasing out STRs on the Minatoya list will not accomplish this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Leslie Mackenzie Smith, followed by Nancy Beebe and Francine Johansson.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Leslie Mackenzie Smith, and I strongly oppose the proposed ban to phase out Minatoya vacation rentals. I'm a 42-year permanent resident of Maui, and I have 4 daughters born and raised here. I purchased my 2-bedroom Ma'alaya condo in 1989 as a legal vacation rental to help support my family and eventually to help with the cost of my children, or cost of college for my children. These Ma'alaya condos, built in the 70s, were never intended to be workforce housing. The annual fixed cost to own this condo is about $60,000 a year. This does not include the assessments due to rising insurance costs, failing seawalls, spalling, and overall maintenance required for buildings built in the 70s. Just to break even, I would have to rent this unit for $5,000 a month. This is not affordable housing, and the people of Maui deserve better than this, including my own children. We have had an affordable housing shortage for decades. The STR owners are the scapegoat for a problem that existed well before the fires. STRs have been contributing millions of dollars towards the Affordable Housing Fund. Where is that housing? The removal of these STRs would bankrupt our county. Senator McKelvey said that himself during the May 14th Talk Story event. During the mayor's press conference, he said he knows there would be litigation should this bill pass. Does the county really need more lawsuits? I ask each of you to do the hard work and study the data. I believe if you do this, it will be clear that this would be an economic disaster. Please consider all viewpoints rather than make a rash emotional decision. The elimination of these STRs will not provide affordable housing on Maui. Punishing one group to help another is not the answer. By passing this bill, it invites countless legal cases that the county will have to pay for at the cost of taxpayer dollars. Please save those millions of dollars the county will spend defending this unconstitutional taking and put that money towards building homes suitable for our community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your testimony. Next is Nancy Beebe, followed by Francine Johansson and Susanna McIntosh.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm Nancy Beebe. I'm a full-time Maui resident, and I am an owner of a small business in the wedding industry. I am a mother to a son who is from Lahaina and is displaced due to the fires. I oppose the proposed bill. The wedding industry, which will include photographers, bakers, caterers, DJs, the florists, and tons of others. I am 100% in favor of affordable housing, but these units are not affordable. Please consider building affordable communities. Please make planning and the permit process faster and simpler. I have a family friend willing to build my son, a fire survivor, a cottage in Maui Meadows that he can rent at a reasonable rate, and was told it would take at least 12 months to get a building permit and to get the plans approved. I'm not sure how this is helping these people, how it's helping fire survivors if they can't get a building permit or building plans approved. My son and our community deserve better, and I oppose this bill. Thank you.
Thanks for testimony. Next is Francine Johansson, followed by Susanna McIntosh and Rue Metcalf.
Aloha. Sorry, I got a little emotional. I just wanted, my name's Francine Johansson, and I wanted to start by saying I've lived here most of my life, and I love Maui. I love it as much as anyone can, I believe. And I have also thought about moving away from here because the cost of living is hard for all of us. We all have to work hard. Housing is high, everything. I am opposed to this bill, though. I'm a nurse, and I've worked many years with Maui County's low-income, medically fragile, and kahuna populations. Recently as a MedQuest and Medicare service coordinator, helping everyone in the community to the best of my ability. I went right after the fires to the Lahaina area into the shelters to help as I could. I've also volunteered for a lot of organizations, including Habitat for Humanity, building homes up in Kula. So I'm 66 years old. I just turned 66 years old, and I finally saved up enough money to purchase a small studio condominium in North Kihei in 2019. I understood it to be a short-term rental complex, and I managed this myself and take care of it myself through Airbnb. My payments and my HOA's total is around $2,400 a month, and everything is increasing now because of insurance, as many people have said. I have been able to create a small income over time, over the 5 years, which I was hoping to help me to retire at some point. I've been working for over 50 years. Social Security, we all know, isn't enough to retire on, and I'm tired. And I don't know what will happen now with this happening. I really view this proposal as an unrealistic attempt to resolve an issue affecting one population of an island by critically affecting another population. Not of all of us are from the mainland or investors. The housing and homelessness crisis we are facing is horrific, but it was a problem before the Lahaina tragedy. The proposal is not a solution, but it has become a media and politically driven issue. The total TAT&G taxes collected from legal B&Bs is over 17%. Couldn't these taxes and also hotel taxes not be used for allocation of land and for building affordable rent-controlled housing for families? The taxes from my short-term rental could help pay for the kind of family housing that's actually needed. Housing that considers the average income on Maui and is suitable for a family. Let's find a realistic way to attack the affordable housing and homelessness issue. I'm not sure this is it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for testimony. Next is Susanna McIntosh, followed by Rue Metcalf and Jerome Bosch.
Aloha kakayaka, planning commissioners and fellow residents. I'm here today to strongly oppose this bill. My name is Susanna McIntosh, a proud resident of Maui and a single mother. I spent 7 years working on a ship away from my daughter, trying to build a life for both of us by saving up money to buy properties that are legal vacation rentals. This effort was meant to allow me to spend more time with my daughter while providing us with financial stability. Being a single mother, it is incredibly challenging to work regular 9-to-5 job while also managing school drop-offs, after-school activities,
Moreover, my cleaners is also a single mother supporting 4 kids. I pay my cleaner 5 to 10 times more per hour than most hotels pay their employees. This money stays on the island, supporting our local residents. One of my friends called me numerous times in tears, unsure of what to do. She purchased a legal vacation rental condo for almost $1 million with an interest rate of 9.375%. Yes, 9.375% with a 3-year prepayment penalty. That's almost $7,000 monthly mortgage. Now that is not an affordable home for our local residents. If this bill will devastate families like Kim's, like my daughter and I, and many other residents that are here with us today. If you phase out short-term vacation rental, it could force me to file for bankruptcy, destroy the credit score I worked my entire life to build, and my daughter and I may never be able to buy another home again. We truly need true affordable homes for our local residents, not measures that will only increase the numbers of suffering residents. Therefore, I strongly oppose this bill. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you for your testimony. Next is Rule Metcalf, followed by Jerome Bosch and Corey McKim.
Good morning. Thank you for hearing me. I'm against this bill. My partner and I own a vacation rental in Maui Sunset, 1 bedroom. And they're trying to say that this vacation rental would make a good housing, 1 bedroom. How many families would be able to live in a 1 bedroom? You're sitting there going, these condominiums were built as condominiums for vacation rentals. You can't come along and stick a square peg in a round hole without tearing up both the peg and the hole. We come along and I've lived here for 7 years. I came to live with my partner who's been here for 11 years. We have a mortgage. We pay taxes. We vote. And we come along and between our 2 retirements, we couldn't pay our mortgage. We just couldn't pay it. We sat there and we had a nest egg and we could watch that nest egg dwindle and it'd go down, go down. That's when we bought a vacation rental. We bought a vacation rental, and with the vacation rental, we can afford to live here. We know it's expensive here. I think everybody knows it's expensive to live here. And without this income, we're not going to be able to. And on top of that, if this goes through, the whole thing is that they're going to want to push down the cost of real estate, which is really good for a lot of people. But what about these people that have mortgages and high interest rates and things like that? They're going to be upside down. If we remember right, in 2008, the whole country, the United States, went through the mortgage debacle caused by the federal government coming in and saying